The season opener with Michigan State is just over 3 weeks away, and we will have more basketball before then as Kentucky will tune things up with some exhibition matchups against Kentucky State and Georgetown College. But on Friday, we did get to see them in a competitive scrimmage, and you have to like what you saw. We always love to overreact to this game, but Khalil Whitney can throw down with the best of them. His jumper needs some work, but he is a freight train in transition. Keon Brooks quietly had a double-double. As for the guards, Tyrese Maxey was a stud. We know what Ashton Hagans can do. And then Emmanuel Quickly. Coach Cal warned us he was a lot better, but that guy has got to have a lot of True Blue fans excited now because of his experience, leadership, size, and really good touch from the perimeter. Also, who can shoot the ball? Nate Sestina.
I had 3 people stop me on the way in who were basketball people and said, that kid works so hard and has so much energy and talks. He's going to play himself into minutes, and he is. I tried to say that he's a little bit like Derek Willis, where you can stretch out that guy. He's a big guy that you can stretch the court with. But he has a little more physical presence.
I played guard my whole life, so I was kind of able to shoot the ball a little bit when I was younger, and then as I started to grow, I kept with it. I didn't just kind of stop shooting, and when I got to college and I realized that like you don't have to just be back to the basket all the time, I really worked at that with my coaches at Bucknell, and then when I got here, I really started to develop that.
Drew, neither Nate Sestina or Emmanuel Quickly may be in the starting lineup, especially when we play Michigan State, but both those guys are going to see a lot of time.
Yeah, this game historically, this is the 11th under Coach Cal, and the other 10, it's almost been the opposite of who played well, they played bad in the season. But I think we actually got a real taste of what Quickly is going to look like and what Sestina is going to look like this year. Quickly seems to have making a big jump from freshman to sophomore year, and Sestina's not some guy just to take up minutes. I mean, he's going to contribute. He's going to be a very good player for them. Especially
if we can stretch the floor, because the rest of the guys didn't shoot it quite as well as Quickly and Sestina did. But that doesn't bother me so much right now. I mean, this is a blue-white
shooting will be fun.
Yeah.
My other big takeaway was Tyrese Maxey looks to be that elite player that everyone projects him to be, and he and Whitney together throwing lobs and playing fast. They're going to be an exciting duo on the court at the same time.
What did you, Junior Nick Richards, right? Yeah,
that's my guy.
he did some really nice things. He still looked a little bit more timid in the post, but I think E.J. Montgomery maybe made up for that a little bit.
Nick always puts up big numbers this time of year. Let's do it when it matters. Let's see how that goes.
All right, let's turn to politics now. One Republican leader has expanded on his comments about what an Andy Beshear administration would look like. Last week, we told you about the declaration by Senate President Robert Stivers, Majority Floor Leader Damon Thayer, that Beshear's proposal to bring gambling to Kentucky would be, quote, dead on arrival if he were elected governor. Thayer later followed up in a radio interview about that statement.
There aren't even close to the number of votes to pass casino gambling, and Andy Beshear is misleading the public by telling people that he can get it done. He's not going to win, but even if he does, we don't like the guy. He spent the last 4 years either suing over our bills or not defending our bills in court. He's been an abject failure, General, and we don't like him. And if he's the governor, you're looking at 4 years of gridlock.
As we said, Beshear's campaign maintains he would strive for bipartisan legislation to legalize gambling in Kentucky. Drew, I would think at some point you just pretend that you are going to try to work with the other party, right? Instead of just saying, we don't like the guy, it's going to be gridlock for 4 years.
Yeah, you're not elected to go there and pick who you want to work with. You're there to represent the people, and whoever else is in that Capitol building with you, you all work together for the greater good of Kentucky. For him to sit there and say, I'm not going to work with Andy Beshear if he's elected, that's pretty disgraceful, especially someone in his position as the majority leader.
And if he is elected, then the majority of Kentuckians would have voted for him. So, yes, they do want to see some of the things that he would have talked about if he wins.
Yeah, and I'm for gambling, so I'm on the other side.
We've got to talk about gambling when Drew's on, no matter what. All right, meanwhile, the tragic shooting at a Western Kentucky school has become an issue in the governor's race. Matt Bevin has disputed Andy Beshear's claim that, as Attorney General, he met with families of the victims following the 2018 attack at Marshall County High School. The issue has come up during gubernatorial debates, in one instance when Bevin evoked the shooting when after a question about funding school safety. Bevin referenced the bracelet he said he was given by the family of some shooting victims. Several people have weighed in on the situation, including the Marshall County Judge Executive, who said he heard from families who said Beshear had never met with them, but a former employee of Beshear's office who currently works on Beshear's campaign and a former Marshall County attorney both say Beshear did have such meetings. I hate that something like this has become a political football of, well, who did you talk to after this?
Yeah, I'm not surprised it came up, being such the big deal that it is. But now, this is past. They already talked about it there, and now we're in a competition of who spoke to the most people, or were you really there, or were you in a photo? This is being used as a tool, and it kind of feels like on both sides, when that's not what this is about, and it should not be politicized that way.
Not that way. Now, I do think it should be a political thing that we discuss how we can make our schools safer.
Should be considered for sure, but this,
yeah.
Were you there, I was there, you weren't there kind of thing.
Did you take a selfie? Yeah, no, not happening. All right. Now in Hey Kentucky, in case you missed it, a review of recent headlines. The details of President Trump's next scheduled visit to the Bluegrass have been released. The president will host a campaign rally for Governor Bevin the night before the election at Rupp Arena. Meanwhile, a judge has agreed to unseal court documents spelling out how an opioid manufacturer flooded Kentucky with pills. During a 6-year period, prosecutors say drug manufacturer Mallinckrodt sent nearly 900 million doses of opioids to the Bluegrass. Up next on Hey Kentucky, our own Ryan Lemon goes for glory on the hardwood. The little speedster stepped up to participate in Coach Cal's fantasy camp over the weekend. We'll see how things turned out after the break.